Chapter 17.
So Arthur gets his tea.
Well, kind of.
Yeah.
I think this is my favourite sentence I have ever read. It's again like the way that earlier chapters how it says, "It floated the way bricks don't."
Right.
And it gives you a perfect image of what it was happening, even though it is really vague. This one, he is provided with a plastic cup filled with a liquid that was almost, but not quite, entirely unlike tea.
Yeah. Yeah. It turns out the Sirius Cybernetics Corporation is rubbish at making tea.
Yeah.
It also mentions that they have a huge complaint department that's like the size of a planet or something. Or 3 planets.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's no surprise to me that they mentioned that like in the future they get overrun by their own robots or whatever.
Yeah, at least he found the liquid reviving like a cup of tea.
Yes. I take that as just Arthur's not very picky about his tea.
Yeah, I guess
like
so.
It's nothing like tea, but maybe he's just, I don't know.
It's better than anything he has had so far. I mean, from his morning routine, we have found out that he's not exactly fazed by a bulldozer being in his front garden.
Yeah.
As he's getting ready. So.
It's just the sort of person he is. So they head down towards the planet.
Yep. And an announcement starts playing, and Zaphod is like, "No, don't worry, it's just a pre-recorded thing they play. They've been playing for the past 500 million years or so, just to keep people away." I think at first it's Arthur being somewhat suspicious, then Ford also being quite cynical because he has been throughout the past couple chapters about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
The threats seem to get a bit more specific and...
Yeah, it's like it might be automated messages, but it's clearly linked to an automated defense system.
Yeah. So then they realize it does work and they're being chased by a nuclear weapon. And, well, yeah, so they put it into the ship into manual control, but they're all like, no, everyone but Arthur, it said. So Ford's like, so can you fly the ship? Then Zaphod replies no, Trillian says no. Yeah, but then it's quite funny. It goes like, fine, said Zaphod.
And then Arthur's like, I can't fly the ship either.
It's like he felt like it was about time he began to assert himself. It's quite funny, because it's just like, yeah, this whole time he's kind of just walked onto the bridge and all this has happened while he's been having tea. But yeah. So they activate the ship's control panels, but they're all still in polystyrene packing with cellophane balls all around them.
Yeah.
So then they all start. So Ford leapt to the controls. Only a few of them made any immediate sense to him, so he pulled those. Feels like funnily enough, a very human response of oh, I know what that is, so I'm just gonna put it to full.
I know how to turn left, so I'm just gonna go in circles. It's at least something.
But they seem to keep... they seem to keep turning it around and going straight for the missile.
Yeah.
Missiles.
And then eventually it gets to the point where it's they're gonna get hit. And Arthur is like, can we just use the improbability drive?
And then they're like, what are you talking about? What? Because they can't really...
Yeah, and then it's
singing.
And then the chapter ends and they die again. Or do they?
But then I do quite like how they're trying to say their final words. They can't hear each other because Eddie's singing loudly and there's a lot of noise going on because they're all being flung around the cockpit.
God, yeah, the computer. So annoying.
So Arthur's trying to tell them to activate it, but they can't hear him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing that happened was a mind-mangling explosion of noise and light.
And that is where the chapter ends, but I would like to go back. There's a bit on page 85 where it's they realize the missiles are coming towards them, and Zaphod's like, but don't you see what this means? And Arthur's, yes, we're going to die. Yes, but apart from that. It's
yeah.
It means we must be onto something. I love the style of writing, but it's how soon can we get off it, physically onto something? It's just making, I don't know if that's a pun, but making just bad jokes in the face of death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which seems to be a recurring theme with aliens and humor, of making jokes at poor times.
Yeah, well, I think that's Arthur making that one, but yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think that's just part of, it being a comedy as well as sci-fi.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, I guess we'll see how they survive in the next chapter.
Well, they don't, and it's several chapters describing their deaths.
Yeah, maybe that's the end. The rest of the chapters are just blank. It was all a trick.